nearly 90% of children that are within school don't have access to mentoring support. That is just not fair. Think about it. Around 90% of children are not able to reach their potential because they come to school, they do everything they're meant to do, they attend, they're compliant, they do their work, but they are overlooked for children that need more urgent mentoring support. And that is a travesty, and that is happening in so many of our schools. I remember when I was mentoring within school, and I had a young girl that came to me and she asked if I could be her mentor. And I wanted to mentor her, but because of the guidelines of the school, I had to tell her that I could not be her mentor because she wasn't naughty enough. What does that mean? Because she was not naughty enough, she did not fit the criteria of what the mentoring criteria was within that school. And she weren't naughty enough, she wasn't failing enough, she wasn't vulnerable enough, so she could not be mentored. So my name is Herman Stewart and I'm the mentor's mentor. And I want to talk to you today about why does every child need a mentor. Now, I've been in the mentoring game for over 20 years. And I remember when I started out and there was an initiative by the government that was started. It was around excellence in cities, and mentors and teaching assistants and learning zones was established by the government. And what that was, it was mentoring was a new situation, a new category of staff, because before it was predominantly teachers and students, but then because of the society change and the things that was happening in society, it was realized that there needs to be more support. So children needed to have more assistance, and more people had to be able to help the children to be able to progress in school. So Excellence in Cities started funding mentors. But what happened was the criteria that Excellence in City created for mentors was that children that had access to mentors, they had to be children that were at risk of exclusion. It was children that were considered to be hard to reach. It was children that were permanently excluded and had a number of different challenges. And those were the children that were funded to get access to mentoring. Now, why is this important? When schools continue to deliver mentoring and schools continue to mentor children, even when the funding stopped, there was only a certain type of child that was getting access to mentoring. So those children that was turning up at school and they were compliant, they were manageable, they were doing their work, they were not the loudest, they were not the most extreme. Those children, and a lot of head teachers call those children the grey children. I call them the children in the middle. So when you think about the middle, you've got the mass of children, like you've got the most, if you think about the gifted and talented students, they're the children that are the brightest within a school. So they're around 10% and they're like doing well. They're doing, they're getting the best grades. They're achieving in school, and they're the ones that are gifted and talented. So then you've got the other children that they've got different needs. So they've got behavior needs. Some of them have got educational needs. They've got different types of needs, and it affects how they behave in school. It affects how they are in class. And those children are around 5%, and they get the support as well from like mentors and SEN staff and so forth. But the majority of children that's in the middle, they are the children that's in the middle that get overlooked. And I've spoken to so many adults that have spoken to me, and they've made me aware that I was one of those children. I was one of those children in school that did not get the support. I was doing well, but behind me doing well, I wasn't doing well at home, or I wasn't doing well with confidence, or I wasn't doing well with my social skills, or I was being bullied, or I was going through different types of issues, and I was overlooked. So when you look at this as an issue now, we recognize that society is changing. When you look at schools now, when you look at what children are going through now, when you look at the fact that they're on social media, when you look at the fact that they're being exposed to adult material on YouTube or on TikTok or on different social media platforms, and children are going through different types of challenges around their parents and the financial situations, or even the situation around, being bullied online or so forth, or even what has happened from the pandemic and COVID. A lot of children are now more socially anxious. There's a lot of mental health challenges. So now children need that trusted adult. Children need that advocate. They need that person that can speak to them and that can help them to think through life, think through school, think through some of the challenges they're having. And teachers, with the best will in the world, because teachers are doing a great job. Teachers, they've got a lot of pressure, because now even many teachers are recognizing that when they came into the profession to be a teacher, they never necessarily came into the profession to be a social worker as well as a teacher, as well as a youth worker. But because of the societal changes, they're now having to do so many different roles. They're having to do so much more for children. So you can see that there are so much more needs that children present, and that teaching role does not have the capacity to do that function. So when we look at mentors, we're looking at an additional member of staff. We're looking at additional people that will come into the school, and we'll have those one-to-one sessions, and we'll talk to children, and we'll be able to give them a space and a safe environment to be able to go through what they're going through, or the things that's hindering their learning, or the things that's happening at home that is stopping them from getting the best out of school. So that's why children now need mentors. So the other problem is, when you look at some schools, they do have mentors, and they do have the recognition that children need mentoring, but because of the budget cuts, or because of the lack of budget, then only certain children are being pushed forward to be mentored. So then that means the children that could have been prevented from having to go to become extreme in their behavior, or extreme in the things that they're struggling with, it's almost like they have to go to being loud. They have to go to their, that their problems are so obvious that they need a mentor. So then that means that children have to be failing more. They have to be more naughty, or they have to be more vulnerable to be able to be picked up by the mentor or picked up by the school to be able to get that support. And I feel that is so unfair, because the reality of it is, if someone has to go through all of that to become supported, they're going to be going through the emotional wounds and going through the human carnage to be able to be picked up. Now, the solution of this matter is being able to provide mentoring that is asset-based. So what is asset-based mentoring? Every Child Needs a Mentor, the organization that I run, use asset-based mentoring. Asset-based is focusing on children's genius, focusing on that every child has got greatness within them. Not every child is not academic, or every child is not doing well in school, but the reality of it is, every child has got different gifts. They've got different talents. Some children are good leaders. Some children are good at working with people, or good with other people. Some children are good with animals. Some children are good at socializing. Some children are good at arts, and they're good at craft. Some children are good at dancing. So children have got different skills. They've got different areas of genius. And asset-based mentoring is not looking at the failure, not looking at the mistakes, not looking at the behavior, but looking at, what is this child good at? What could this child become? What jobs could this child have based on their skill set and based on their aspirations? And then utilizing mentoring to help the child to then start figuring out how they can get the most out of their schooling to be able to access the careers that they want to access. Because not every child is going to become a YouTuber, not every child is going to become a content king. And that is like one of the most prevalent aspirations that children have at present. Or not every child is going to become a prevalent footballer. But if you can help children to recognize that there's a range of roles that they could do in life to earn a living, and they could enjoy those roles because they are naturally gifted or they're naturally talented and they've got a proclivity to be able to utilize these skills, then that would help more children in school to do even better. So being able to utilize asset-based mentoring is a powerful solution. The other solution that I would say is making sure that mentors are effectively trained. A lot of times when people are in schools and they're delivering mentoring, they are not even mentor trained. And I have spoken to so many head teachers, I've spoken to so many leaders, I've spoken to so many mentor coordinators, and they've identified that since funding stopped for mentoring, lots of mentors were not trained. So even when you've got new mentors that are coming into the profession to become mentors, really they don't even have mentor training. Or when there's staff members in school that are saying, okay, from the goodness of their heart, they're going to step forward and they're going to mentor some of their children. The reality of it is a lot of them are not mentor trained, and mentoring is also a skill set. It's also a profession. So the reality of it is having good mentor training, having asset-based mentoring is also going to be something that will benefit children to be able to be mentored. And the other thing that I would say is another solution is when we talk about mentoring and mentors, I don't just think someone that is called the mentor is a mentor. The first mentors that children have are their parents. The first mentors that children have are those that's within their home. So it can be an older sibling, it can be an uncle, it can be, a Cub Scout leader, it can be someone in the community. So there's a range of different people that can become mentors. But I want to focus on the mentors of people's, students' parents. So as a parent, you have got a role to be able to utilize what you know about your child and help them to be able to find what are they good at, help them to work through some of their challenges. Don't just let them be, on their Xbox or on their PS5 or, whatever they're playing, or just be on social media and you're not talking to them and you're not getting to know them and you're not getting to know what are the challenges they're going through. Because the reality is you could be that mentor at home. You could be that mentor that is helping them. You could be that person that is sitting down and taking time to find out how they're finding school, how they're finding their subjects, being able to talk to them about their different individual subjects that they're going through in school, getting to find out if they're in year 9, what do you want to do, because they're about to choose their options. If they're in year 7, how you finding high school right now, how is secondary school compared to year 6 in primary school. If they're in year 6 in primary school, you could be talking to them and asking them about what are their anxieties about going to secondary school. So when we say that every child does need a mentor, it's not just about them needing someone that is called a mentor, is that they need parents that are providing that mentorship, that they need people from the community providing that mentorship, and they need people that are within the school environment that can have those learning and mentoring conversations. So as I come to a close, I don't know where you are. I don't know if you're a professional. I don't know if you're a parent. I don't know if if you're a student. I don't know if you're an aspiring mentor. But I definitely would ask, are you having those mentoring conversations with the children around you? If you're a parent, when was the last time you started to ask those questions about how's your child's friendship group? How is their subjects? How are they getting on with different teachers? What is the aspirations that they would like to achieve in life? Are you doing that? If you're a teacher, I would say always recognize that a student is a person first and a student second. that blew my mind when I had that epiphany, but that epiphany is a reality. So every young person in a uniform, they're not just a student, they're a person in a uniform. You know, they could be going through anything at home. They're probably not doing their homework because their parents have separated and they're really struggling with their emotions, or their parents are really struggling. They could be homeless, they could be sofa surfing, they could be in different settings. They don't even have a home and you don't realize, because sometimes only certain members of staff are aware of where some children are within their social settings. So realize that children have got a life beyond school, and it's that life beyond school that impacts them in their schooling, whether they turn up and they're able to show their best self or they're not. So be able to have those conversations. And I would say, if you're a leader, ask, are we doing enough for our students for, you know, that need mentoring? Are we helping the children that are in the middle? Are we supporting those children that are not the highest achievers, or the children that are failing, or the children that are not doing as they could be doing? And ask those questions and look to get those things in place. And if you could do that, you would be a part of the catalyst and the mechanism to be ensuring that every child can have mentorship, whether you're a professional, whether you're a parent, whether you're a sibling. Just help every child to have a mentor. So I don't know how you found this video. I hope you found it helpful. It'd be great for you to put in the comments what your thoughts are, and you know what your thinking is, and what you thought about the statistics about how many children are overlooked. I'd love to see what your thoughts are, or if you was that child that was overlooked, you know, now you're an adult, you realize that you never got the support that you could have got. So if you could add that in the comments, that would be really good. And if you could share this video with someone that would find it useful, that would be really powerful as well. So I want to say thank you so much for all that all of you watching and taking the time and spending the time being with me. And I want to say thank you, and join me again next week as I will share something else about mentorship. Thank you very much.